Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you again for joining us for another episode of Wisdom Reading. Today, I'll be your host. Unfortunately, Bongisipo couldn't make it, so I'm filling in for him. He's writing exams and want to wish him all the best for exams, and also everyone else who's writing exams during this time. Want to wish you guys all the best, and God bless you, and hopefully everything will be successful. But yeah, so today actually we had a class by His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami, who was talking about piety and bhakti as their relationship. So please go check that out. I think it's already been uploaded. And yesterday we also had Ask a Monk by Savya Sachi Das Prabhu. Please also go check that out. I think we need like something that pops up here and then something that pops up here again so that it's easy for us to just click and check it out. But yeah, so we'll be continuing with the Isopanisad. I've got the book here, but I'll be reading along with you guys, and I'll be doing Mantra 5. Nomsa did Mantra 4 last week, which was really good. Please check that out as well. Like and subscribe. Then we had a Dumeling do Mantra 3, and Kulufelo probably do Mantra 2. And today I will be doing Mantra 5. So yeah, please do check that out. Really appreciate it, and like and subscribe. And as I said, yeah, I'll be starting with Mantra 5. So we just like to thank His Holiness A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada for this information and for disseminating this information for us and making it easy for us to understand and present to you today. So before we get started, I'd just like to start with invocation. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Okay. So yeah, Mantra 5. Tad ejati tan nai chati. Tad dure tad vi antike. Tad anda asya sarvasya. Tad urusarvasya sarvasyasya. Bayata. Tat this Supreme Lord. Ejati walks. Tat he na not ejati walks. Tat he dure far away. Tat he who also antike very near. Tat he anta within Asya of this Sarvasya of all. Tat he who also Sarvasya of all Asya of this Bhayata eternal external too. Translation. The Supreme Lord walks and does not walk. He is far away, but he is also very near as well. He is within everything, and yet he is also outside of everything. So, purport. Here is a description of some of the Supreme Lord's transcendental quality activities, executed by his inconceivable potencies. The contradictions given here prove the inconceivable potencies of the Lord. He walks and he does not walk. Ordinarily, if someone can walk, it is illogical to say he cannot walk. But in reference to God, such a contradiction simply serves to indicate his inconceivable power. With our limited fund of knowledge, we cannot accommodate such contradictions. Therefore, we conceive of the Lord in terms of our limited powers of understanding. For example, the impersonalist philosophers of the Mayavadi school accept only the Lord's impersonal activities and reject his personal feature. But the members of the Bhagavad school, adopting the perfect conception of the Lord, accept his inconceivable potencies and thus understand that he is both personal and impersonal. The Bhagavats know that without inconceivable potencies, there can be no meanings to the words Supreme Lord. We should not take it for granted that because we cannot see with our eyes, the Lord has no personal existence. Sri Isopanisad refutes this argument by declaring that the Lord is far away, but very near also. The abode of the Lord is beyond the material sky, and we have no means to measure even this material sky. If the material sky extends so far, then what to speak of the spiritual sky, which is altogether beyond it? That the spiritual sky is situated far, far away from the material universe is confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, text 6. But despite the Lord's being so far away, he can at once, within less than a second, descend before us with, with a speed swifter than that of the mind or the wind. He can also run so swiftly that no one can surpass him. This has already been described in the previous mantra. What I like about this mantra, but also the previous mantras, is that the Isopanisad really does a really good job, really does a really nice job in giving you the difference between the human being and Krishna, or the supreme being. In that, here we also get an example of that, even though um, one might, as it's said here, that God walks at the same time, doesn't walk, that say, though he is here, he's very near, at the same time, he's very far away. One of the examples given is that God is Parama Atma, that is within the hearts of everyone. So you also hear that though he's also within the hearts of everyone, he also resides in Goloka, Vrindavan, his own spiritual planet, which is far, 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 extremely far, far away. Actually, Prabhupada says that even if you travel there for a million years at the speed of the mind, it is still impossible to reach the spiritual sky. So, I mean, one can imagine just how fast, just thinking of anything, you can think of your home, and then automatically, even though I'm sitting here, I can see my place at home, and my handle's wrong. But anyway, but even though you're sitting at home, you can be sitting here, think of a place at home, and immediately you can see it. So you can just imagine how fast the speed of the mind is. But another good example that I really like is that of the deities. That's even though, because Krishna's energy is everything, and he is conceivable in all of those energies, as further on in the book it will say that Krishna is within everything. So we get to see here that because Krishna is in everything, he's able to show himself in everything and appear from anything. So similarly, we also get to see that Krishna, because we want to see him, and because we don't have the proper eyes or the proper knowledge to see him, he manifests himself in silver, gold, rocks, straw, whatever it is that we are able to build deities from, so that we can see him. So this is it's a very nice example of how that Krishna is very different from us. Because he is full of inconceivable potencies, God can accept our service through any sort of medium, and he can convert his different potencies according to his own will. Non-believers argue that either that the Lord, yes, when he personally, yes, sorry, I missed the line there, sorry. Yet when the personality of Godhead comes before us, we neglect him. Such foolish negligence is condemned by the Lord in the Bhagavad Gita, where he says that the foolish deride him, considering him a mortal being. He is not a mortal being, nor does he come before us with the body produced of material nature. There are many so-called scholars who contend that the Lord descends in the body made of matter, just like an ordinary living being. Not knowing his inconceivable power, such foolish men place the Lord on an equal level of ordinary man. Prabhupada mentions this a lot, that because we have a tendency to understand things with our limited capacity and with our own experience, that it's very difficult for us to actually believe that God has a personal feature. Hence, also, you see in a lot of scriptures, the different variety of scriptures that people follow, that the personal feature is not really spoken about. Actually, there's an interesting video where I saw a Muslim gentleman speak, saying that though God has created this world, he cannot come here, which is very weird. That because to say that God cannot do something, then we're not talking about God anymore, which is very odd. Actually, I had another example where I was speaking to a friend of mine who is from the what's the practice? But I've forgotten now. But it's from also a Christian practice. But where he was saying that one thing that God can't do is praise himself. So hence why he has created us so that we can praise him. So yeah, I'm actually interested now to hear what other people think that God cannot do, which is very odd, because as I've said, if there's something that God cannot do, then we're not speaking about God, because God can do anything and everything. Hence His position as God. So carrying on, because He is full of inconceivable potencies, God can accept our service through any sort of medium, and He can convert His different potencies according to His own will. Non-believers argue either that the Lord cannot incarnate himself at all, or if he does, he descends in the form of material energy. These arguments are nullified if we accept the existence of the Lord's inconceivable potencies. Then we will understand that even the Lord appears before us in the form of material energy. It is quite possible for him to convert his energy into spiritual energy. Since the source of the energies is one and the same, the energies can be utilized according to the will of their source. For example, the Lord can appear in the form of Archa Vigraha, a deity supposedly made of earth, stone, or wood. Deity forms, although engraved from wood, stone, or other matter, are not idols, as the iconolist contend. I hope I pronounced that correctly. So I'd mentioned this point earlier on that because God's energy, his internal and external energies, these are not different from himself. He's able to expand as he pleases. And also, that energy that we are seeing, that we can see with our own eyes, is also his energy. So, hence, that energy is not different from himself. So, we can see because of that, we're able to give offerings, whether it be food, it be flowers, it be water, and Krishna is able to accept those offerings through the deity in the stone in the form of a deity, because that energy is his, and he's able to communicate and translate through that energy. But unlike us, we're unable to do that. But that would be quite amazing. But carrying on, in the Bhagavad Gita, nice, sorry. In our present state of imperfect material existence, we cannot see the Supreme Lord due to imperfect vision. Yet those devotees who want to see him by means of material vision are favored by the Lord, who appears in so called material form to accept his devotees' service. One should not think that such devotees who are in the lowest stage of devotional service are worshipping an idol. They are factually worshipping the Lord, who has agreed to appear before them in an approachable way. Nor is the archa form fashioned according to the whims of the worshipper. This form is externally existent with all paraphernalia. This can be actually felt by a sincere devotee, but not by an atheist. So Prabhupada further is expanding on this point that initially because we have the desire to see the Lord, but because we don't have the eyes to see him, Krishna presents himself in a way that we may be able to see him and we may be able to give service so that gradually we can be elevated to a point where we can actually give that personal service. But that point is just the beginning, and that those if someone is seeing this should not be confused and think that it's some type of idol worship or it's just that this person is confused. That actually this type of method is an authorized method and is being given down by the chariots. So yeah, this is nice that Prabhupada is really knocking on that point that we should not be confused about deity worship and about the Krishna's different energies and then how that he can appear in any way in any type of form that he wishes to. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that how he treats his devotee depends on the devotee's degree of surrender. The Lord reserves the right not to reveal himself to anyone and everyone, but to show himself only to those souls who surrender unto him. Thus, for the surrendered soul, he is always within reach, whereas for the unsurrendered soul, he is far, far away and he cannot be approached, even though he's within the heart. It's funny. In this connection, two words, the revealed scriptures often apply to the Lord. Saguna, with qualities, and nirguna, without qualities. A very, a very, are very important. Sorry. The word saguna does not imply that when the Lord appears with perceivable qualities, he must take on a material form and be subject to the laws of material nature. For him, there is no difference between the material and the spiritual energies because he is the source of all energies. As the controller of all energies, he cannot, as the controller of all energies, he cannot at any time be under their influence, as we are. The material energy works according to his direction. Therefore, he can use that energy for his purpose without ever being influenced by any qualities of that energy. In the same in this sense, he is nirguna without qualities, nor does the Lord become a formless entity at any time. For ultimately, he is the eternal form, the primeval Lord. The impersonal aspect or the Brahman effulgence is but the glow of his personal rays, just as the sun rays are the glow of the sun god. When the child Saint Prahlad Maharaj was in the presence of his father asked him, "Where is your God?" When Prahlad replied that God resides everywhere, the father angrily asked whether his God was within one of the pillars of the palace, and the child said yes. At once, the atheist king shattered the pillar in front of him to pieces, and the Lord instantly appeared as Nrsimha, the half man, half lion incarnation. Hey, who knew? God can come as a half man, half lion, yeah, and kill the atheist king. Thus, the Lord is within everything, and He creates everything by His different energies. Through His inconceivable powers, He can appear at any place in order to favor His sincere devotee. Lord Nrsimha appeared from within the pillar not by the order of the atheist king, but by the wish of his devotee Prahlad. An atheist cannot order the Lord to appear, but the Lord will appear anywhere and everywhere to show mercy for his devotee. The Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, text 8, similarly states that the Lord appears in order to vanquish non-believers and to protect believers. Of course, the Lord has sufficient energies and agents who can vanquish atheists, but it pleases him to personally favor a devotee. Therefore, he descends as an incarnation. Actually, he descends only to favor his devotees and not for any other purpose. This week, on Thursday, we're reading about Krishna book, and Prabhupada here has just mentions that because these energies are coming from Krishna, Krishna is able to control them and do whatever he wants to do. So in Krishna book, what we're reading about was when Indra, who controls the rain, the rain god. I don't know if he also controls the wind. No, he doesn't. He controls the rain, and he's the one with the thunder, so he throws thunderbolts and all of that. So Indra, they were throwing a puja for him, or a sacrifice. The people of Goloka Vrindavan were throwing a sacrifice for him. They were doing it was a ritual that they would do for Indra. And then after Krishna had spoken to his parents and the elderly people and convinced them that actually better than doing an Indra puja, rather just do the sacrifice to the Govardhan hill. The hill was called Govardhan Hill, yes. And because of this, Indra became very angry, and he devised that, he's gonna just completely destroy these people, completely destroy Krishna, his devotees. He just went mad and called these gigantic clouds, which apparently come at the end of devastation, and they come and like these gigantic raindrops the size of pillars. Yeah, so he decided that he's just gonna drop this torrents of rain on these people. So the point of the story is that when the residents of Vrindavan came to approach Krishna for safety, what Krishna did was lift up a huge hill called Govardhan Hill on his left pinky, just like this. So in that way, we get to see how he's able to control his energies and do the inconceivable. Normal people would say that that's unbelievable, but Krishna, at the age of, I think it was 7, I'm not too sure, need to double check, but was able to do that, and just a further proof of how that he is inconceivable and he is able to control his energies. So carrying on. In the Brahma Samhita, it is said that Govinda, the primordial Lord, enters everything by his plenary portion. He enters the universe as well as all the atoms of the universe. He is outside in his Virat form, and he is within everything as Antaryami. Antaryami. As Anantarayami, he witnesses everything that is going on, and he awards us the results of our action as karma pala. We ourselves may forget that we have done what we have done in previous lives, but because the Lord witnesses our actions, the results of our actions are always there, and we have to undergo the reactions nonetheless. The fact is that there is nothing but God within and without. Everything is a manifestation of his different energies, like the heat and light emanating from a fire, and in this way there is a oneness among his diverse energies. Although there is oneness, however, the Lord and his personal form still enjoys ultimately unlimitedly, and all the pleasures enjoyed minutely by the tiny parts and parcels, living entities. So, just some closing thoughts, and see if there's any questions for today. But some closing thoughts, I think, which Prabhupada mentioned again and again and again, is that Krishna is able to come or appear from anything in any way because these are all his energies. That within and without, as you said in the end, Krishna is able to appear. And the example is given that Prahlad, who was a great devotee of the Lord, because of his great belief, and as you were saying to his father, that Krishna is everything. That even though Krishna is everything, at the same time, he is also is able, just like us, we have our own personal features, and we are jivas, and we have our own, what's the word I'm looking for? Independence. Krishna also is able to also do his own free will and appear and do whatever he wants. So similarly, we also see that when Prahlad is saying to his father that yes, the pillar is also Krishna, and when his father smashes the pillar, we see that Nrsimha appears, the half man, half lion. And that to further prove that existence, that everything is Krishna's energy and he's able to appear from it. The other examples also given of how that the devotee wanting to have a relationship with Krishna in the beginning, what Krishna is able to do is presents himself in that form of a stone, would it be gold, silver, or a painting or anything like that, so that the devotee is able to render service and able to formulate that personal relationship with Krishna. So this information is very important. It's very important for us to really understand the difference between matter and spirit, really understand the difference between the jiva, ourselves, the minute parts and parcels, as Prabhupada has explained in the end, the souls, and understand the difference between Krishna, God, and ourselves, so that we're able to understand our positions. And hopefully, by understanding our positions, we can see that how we are very, very small, minute atom particles, and that we only, by understanding that, hopefully we can come to the position of surrendering or having humility, and then maybe, taking up this information and trying to get a better understanding of ourselves and God. So yeah, the Isopanisad is very nice in that gradually it helps one understand the difference between ourselves and God and all these different energies as they are going through here in the characteristics. So yeah. Ah, Hare Krishna Mataji, I think Ravin Singer. Thank you, Hari Wo. Thank you very much. Appreciate the support. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Kgosi. So, is it wrong to worship an impersonal feature of the Supreme Person? That's a very good question. So, I think the best answer I can give is, what I've heard from Srila Prabhupada, who says that there are different degrees. Um, Different degrees that are mentioned is you get the Brahma Jyoti, which is the effulgence, generally as we see the energy of the Lord. And then we get the second aspect, or ones that are generally followed by the yogis, the Padma Atma, who is within the heart. And then we get the Bhagavan, the personal aspect, where we have now a personal relationship with Krishna, where we get to see that Krishna has a body, he has a personality, he likes to eat things, he likes flowers, I actually got one today from Krishna. I got a flower today. Um, he has so many activities. So no, I don't think it's wrong. I think that it's a different level, a different stages of understanding, and that each we see that a lot of books generally refer to the Brahma Jyoti, to the effulgence of the Lord, the energies of the Lord, but they don't actually go into um, if God has a form, what does he look like? What does he do? Does he eat? Does he have parents? Where does he stay? And where he stays, what are the activities of the Lord? What do they do there? If I should go there, what would I do there? What is the relationship that we have? So what we see is that that aspect of the can I please see the question again? This one. That aspect of the impersonal feature is not a complete feature of the supreme person. It is just but a minute fraction of him. It's just one of his many energies. So that actually that relationship, that impersonal feature, doesn't really allow someone to have the best relationships with God. There's more to him. There's more that one can actually genuinely come to appreciate and understand. So by coming to hear about the personal feature that he has a face, actually that yeah, he has a face. He has hair, which they say is blackish and curly. They say his lips are like the bimba fruit, or a reddish fruit. So there are these descriptions that they give about Krishna, and what he does in Goloka Vrindavan, what he does with his pure devotees, his very close associates. So this information is very much described very nicely in Isopanisad, the book that we're reading here, in the Vedas, Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Nectar of Devotion. Many books really give a really good description of the personal features of the Lord, how one can really come and associate with not only the Krishna but the devotees, because these are also his very special people. So if we wish to go to the spiritual world, we have to know how to associate with Krishna, how to associate with his devotees and all these energies, so that it's a loving relationship. But if one just has the understanding of the effulgence, one can imagine it's very difficult to form a relationship with air or energy or something that's very vague. Yeah, it doesn't. It doesn't. I don't think it's very enjoyable. But those of other sects, other religions, can please. We'd really love to hear what they think about that type of relationship, and how it's serving them, and what they also think about the personal feature of Krishna. That have they ever heard such descriptions, that he eats, that he has friends, he is a cowherd boy in Goloka Vrindavan, that he's got parents, that he every day there's a festival apparently. So yeah, that's what I think. Powerful mantra. Here's another Kulu Kulufedo Prabhu is saying powerful mantra. What would you say was your best lesson from this mantra and purport? I would say that my best lesson is that God is inconceivable. That there's a tendency that if we cannot explain or understand God, that we tend to disregard or say that whatever that has been written by the scriptures is fake, or is outdated, or is just lacking proper information, that whatever is being said by the scriptures is outdated, and it's no longer viable anymore. So it's nice to see actually that actually the problem is that because our lack of information, our lack of understanding, and because we're such minute parts and particles, we cannot understand God. It's impossible. So that's why it's actually said the inconceivable makes himself conceivable. That by these books, by Srila Prabhupada, by the acharyas, and they bring information, we're able gradually to understand by the process that they give, the four rules and regulations, the chanting of your rounds, that by doing that, we're able to get a better understanding of Krishna. So that's really one of my biggest things that I've really appreciated, that also in Sri Isopanisad, that also when there's, I think one of the first mantras, when they're saying that the four defaults of humans, that we have a tendency to make mistakes, we have a tendency to cheat and be cheated, we have a tendency to be an illusion, and we have a tendency make mistakes, be an illusion, cheat and be cheated. and to think that this is our body, that this material body is who we actually are. So that brought about some humility in me, and to make me understand that, whatever I cannot understand now, and any questions or anything that I read in the future, it's because of my lack of information, my lack of ability to understand, my poor senses. So yeah, I think, yeah, that really made it a whole lot easier, and it made it a lot easier to just be humble and say, yeah, I don't know. So let me hear from what Srila Prabhupada is saying. Let me hear what from Krishna is saying, and then I'll take it from there. And so far, it's working out. It's working out. And Hare Krishna Namsa. So Hare Krishna Kgosi. How do you deal with the duality of the Lord's description in your own life and philosophically? Hmm. Okay. How do I deal with the duality of the Lord's description in your own life and philosophically? Um, hmm, that's a good question. I think how I deal with it is just accepting that I don't understand. And by accepting that I don't understand, I realize that in time, I'll come to understand these dualities. And also by understanding that Krishna can do anything. So because he can do anything, he's able to do whatever. So whatever seems impossible to us, I should know that Krishna can do it. So with those dualities, Prabhupada has mentioned that because also we have that own experience of not being able to doing certain things, so we then tend to also bring that on to Krishna himself, saying that, well, because I can't do that, then someone else can't do that. And as human beings, we have that tendency sometimes that if we have failed in some type of task, when we hear that someone else has done it, we sometimes say that no, it's impossible. He must have cheated, or so and so is helping him, or it's witchcraft, or it's whatever. So there are many things that people might say for their own failures. So I think, yeah, by reading the books, um, just hearing more and more in Krishna about more and more of his activities, like the story I mentioned of him lifting up Govindhan Hill with his pinky. That's unbelievable, and you can't really debate that or try to imagine. You just have to accept it. It's much easier and much faster if you just accept it. And yeah, because it's Krishna, he can do anything. So I think that's real. That's what's really helped me, um, that understanding that because it's Krishna, he has inconceivable potencies. And a very good story, actually, if I've 1 minute, a very good story is that to show that how inconceivable, really how potent Krishna's potency is, that once when Narada Muni was, doing his travels, he came across, I'm just really, shortening the story because time is up. Once when Narada Muni was doing his travels, he came across, I think it was a cobbler, someone who was making some boots using leathers of a cow or something like that. Could be getting the details wrong, but he had wanting some blessings from Narada, and because he knew that Narada is a celestial sage, he's able to travel all over the universe and go to the spiritual sky as well, that he was going to see Lord Vishnu. And he had said that please can he asked Lord Vishnu when he will finish his life and go back home, back to Godhead. And Narada said, no problem, I can do that for you. And then when he goes back, he goes to see Lord Vishnu, and Lord Vishnu accepts him. How are you doing, Narada? How's everything? Everything is fine. And it's just as about to leave, he says, oh, there's a Prabhu who wanted to know something. When is he coming back home? And he said, no, that Prabhu is coming back next life. And he said, really? What? Why? But when Lord Vishnu tells him that, no, you go back and you just tell him that when he asks, what was I doing? You tell him that I was threading an elephant through the eye of a needle, and you hear his response. So indeed, he goes back and he meets the cobbler who's making his boots, and and then he asks him, "Oh, Narada, I'm so glad that you're back. What did when you saw Lord Vishnu, what was he doing?" And he told him that he was threading an elephant through the eye of the needle, and he was dancing, he was happy, he was saying, wow, that's amazing, that's just like Vishnu. And Narada was so surprised, you actually believe that story? And he said, yes, of course. because in this small little mustard seed, I think it was a mustard seed or the banyan tree, a whole gigantic tree can grow from this small seed. So that was just to show Krishna's inconceivable potencies, that in a small little seed, there's the potential for a tree, fruits, and so many amazing things come from that. So yeah, if something like that can happen, then yeah, anything else can happen. Yeah, so that's what's made it easier, I think. Yeah, hearing more about Krishna has made it easier to understand his inconceivable potency. Hari Krishna Sabyasachi, that's Prabhu. Thank you very much. Hari Wo. Thank you. So yeah, that's it for me. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. I've rambled on for too long. Really do appreciate it. Thank you, Bongi Sipo, for allowing me to do your slot today. All the best for your exams. Thank you everyone for watching. Please do catch us tomorrow. Kulufelo will be reading Mantra 6, and then Nomsa will be reading Mantra 7, and Tumeling Mantra 8 on Wednesday. And then please do catch Krishna book. We are, I think, chapter 8. Yeah, we're on chapter 8 every Thursday. And yeah, come chill with us. We do really appreciate. If anyone else who's not familiar with this content, please do hit us up with any questions. If there's anything that's confusing, we really want you to create a platform which is understandable for everyone, but also at the same time we want to engage with God conscious people and people who want to know more about God. Yeah, that's what we want to do. We want to stop this repeated birth and death and go back home, back to God. Hari Bo. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.